Thank you, Chairman Tonko and Ranking Member Shimkus. I look forward to tackling these issues with you. Thank you to all of our witnesses. We are facing the crisis of our generation. The climate crisis threatens all of our districts, all of our communities, as well as America's national security, our economic prosperity, the health of our families, and the world that our children will inhabit. I appreciated my colleague from Florida, Mr. Soto's remarks. We feel like we're in the bullseye in Florida, and my district in the Tampa Bay area is one of the most vulnerable in the country to the impacts of climate change. Hotter and longer summers, deadly storm surge risk because of rising sea levels, more intense hurricanes. It's all impacting the water we drink and even down to the stormwater and wastewater systems that we all rely on every day. But we're not alone. This is impacting everyone across America. And the costs are very high. Chairman Tonko and I have often talked about the cost of inaction. And right now, people are bearing the brunt of higher property insurance costs, flood insurance costs, electric bills. The list goes on and on. But the good news is there are solutions. We've seen major advances in energy efficiency, renewable energy, innovation, and other strategies to reduce greenhouse gases. The fourth climate assessment report said that future risks from climate change depend primarily on decisions made today. And it has been heartening to hear some of our Republican colleagues talk about a new understanding of what is at stake. But you see, the time is short. The time is short now to avoid the worst impacts and the escalating cost of the climate crisis. And to my colleague, Mr. Duncan, who kind of symbolizes a lot of the discussion we hear on the other side, no, it is absolutely vital that the Congress and this country provide some bold national policies to get there and to tackle the challenges ahead. We've got to tackle the challenges of reducing greenhouse gases, especially in the electric generation sector and transportation sector. So to close out, I would like Mr. Duke and Dr. Eckwursel to talk to us a little bit about that. In the past decade, the average cost of wind and solar electric systems have dropped dramatically, and the markets are rapidly growing. With your best can-do spirit, talk to us about the opportunities ahead for this country and communities when it comes to clean energy and the jobs we'll create with it.
I'll be real short on a resiliency aspect, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Duke, because this is really important. When there's a senior citizens that are trapped inside a facility after a hurricane because there is no power, because it was disrupted, and the fuel supply lines are disrupted, when the storm passes, the sun comes up and the air still is blowing wind, and you can have a renewable, community solar, community wind that can get you back up on your feet, and you can be more independent as you deal with the climate impacts.
Thank you, Representative, for the question. And I just want to underscore how much progress we've made and how much opportunity we have now to cut emissions faster than ever before. The CEO, Jim Robo, of the largest utility in America, predicts that within a few years, renewables, wind and solar, with storage, will be 2 to 4 cents a kilowatt hour and able to broadly compete with conventional power. That's an indication of what we've got in front of us as we seek to electrify all of our end uses in buildings and vehicles and beyond. And I also want to note that there's lots of innovation happening in other sectors. The industrial sector is more complicated. It's one that's hard to get your hands around sometimes. But I want to give an indication of what's going on there. There's a company in Boston that's creating metals out of electricity in a way that can be cost competitive even for steel down the line. You've got companies that are using CO2 to strengthen cement in buildings in Atlanta and all across the country, and much more coming in terms of CO2 utilization as part of the overall toolkit. And of course, we've long known how to cut energy waste. And increasingly, what companies are doing is getting into the system so that they can help with demand response, with flexible loads. For example, there's no reason why you have to charge your electric vehicle right now whenever you first plug it in. It's easy to have it respond to the kinds of rate variations that California is now sending to consumers so that you can charge your electric vehicle when the electricity is most plentiful and cheap. And this is just a small snapshot of the innovation that's happening right now. Much more to come, from small modular reactors to carbon capture and storage, precision agriculture. We can and are in many ways still leading on this, but we need the same kind of 90-plus major policies that China has to make sure that our industry can continue to scale with confidence on all of these solutions.